G'day and welcome to Cities Skylines. We're back in Amity Bay, a modded Let's Play series on my channel. So we're starting to get a little bit of job demand after our residential expansion earlier, so in this video I want to go in with some forestry industry. I think it could be a really cool way to add some jobs to the area, and I have a couple of cool assets I want to try out as well. It's going to mean we need to bring our highway out west and also both train lines, but we do like a challenge. So there's plenty of forestry options all over this map, but I want to really save the middle part where we've built everything up as a really densely populated area. So miles and miles of suburbia that transitions into mid-rise that transitions eventually into our downtown. The western side over here, I want to throw in some dirty industry eventually. There's pretty extensive oil and ore pockets over here, and I think we'll probably just put in little towns dotted about. So I'm eyeing up this little ridge here for two reasons. Firstly, I think we can realistically expand the highway around and then tunnel it underneath, which would actually be helpful to us later on, as I want to get it over here so we can link our other industries to the highway in the future. And it brings that connection over to this side in a meaningful way. And secondly, because I think this part is nestled into the hills here, so it could make quite a nice little regional build for us. I could see forestry being an industry that started here at the turn of the century with the early inhabitants of the area, so it makes sense. Unlike with our farm though, we don't necessarily need to 5-star this one. I think we'll get enough assets to make something nice if we level it up a couple of times. Let's see how we go anyway. Cool, so I need to prepare the area a little and bring over these mass transit connections and start building, so while I do that, let's fast forward. Okay, let's take a look. So first up, I extended out the highway and used another one of those awesome interchanges by MaxFX. I know we could make our own, but I just love these ones and I'm always keen to support other creators, so check them out in my asset collection if you like the look of them. Eventually, our highway will tunnel under this mountain, and that's how we'll get it over the back for our oil area right over there. For now though, it just terminates under the mountain here. There was also an oil field in here which I got rid of as well. I don't want oil here, there's plenty over the back further away, so we'll use that when the time comes. Nice big roundabout here that we'll use to funnel traffic in the future when this is all built out. Then we have this 4-lane road up the hill. I'm actually glad I put a 4-lane road in, as I did and about it, but it's pretty busy, even with the train lines connected, but we'll come on to that in a sec. So I know this was quite steep, the gradient police might leave some comments, but I did some terraforming here and I've got it to about 6%ish, which I think is fine actually. Steep, but not crazy steep. And I think it looks so nice sweeping up into the mountains. It's quite scenic. Then I've popped another roundabout in here as I wanted to build out these little pockets of community housing here. As though in times gone past, there were settlers who founded the area and would have used the river here for their logging industry, floating them down the river instead of using more modern forms of transport. Pretty simple here, single story, single dwelling houses from the European suburbias CCP by Ivania. Further along, I did have some nice Swedish type houses off the workshop, but I changed my mind halfway through. I like these better to be honest. I think they really suit the area we've built out here. Little bit of commercial and a school, then we move up further past the main township and I've done something similar on the other side here. Same deal, the housing and then a tiny little strip of commercial there. I've even built this right along the main road here, as I figured there's no through traffic down this end, so it's fine if people park on the main street. It's like a tiny village or something. A smattering of industry buildings here, mostly so I could squeeze in a bus depot and it wouldn't look out of place. I knew I wanted to add bus lines around this area, so I think the industrial buildings around this help to make it look like it belongs here and it's not just random. So the main town here, we have the residential suburb, police, fire, healthcare and school coverage, then a little main street dotted with rundown commercial buildings. This isn't exactly the tourist hotspot out here, so I chose assets that complemented that kind of forgotten about vibe. Plenty of parking opposite our train station. I've gone for a ground bypass station by Bad Peanut here, as I wanted something really quite basic, literally 2 platforms and an overhead walkway, and the cool thing is, the Sims can use both sides, so I don't have to put my own path up and over, it's just built into the asset, which is quite cool. A few more commercial assets here, a little hotel, and then one of our tiny bus stations we've used before with 4 little bus shelters there so we can hook all our buses in. Then we get on to the exciting part, the forestry industry. So this part is all centered around this great asset by Cup of Tea. It's called the Cargo Train Station Forestry from the workshop, links below as always. And I just love this. Fully functional cargo train station with lots of forestry assets. We have a spare line to detail, then the trains come into this middle line here. I've got a 3rd line going past as well, as that'll be our cargo line feeder to the west of the map. I've terminated it here with a tunnel, and I've done the same with the passenger line as well. I want to extend them both beyond this point eventually, but for now, this'll do. Then this town was built around forestry, so there's a sawmill and a biomass pallet plant right in the centre here. then plenty of warehousing and some industry and forestry industry assets sprinkled about as well. The Forestry HQ sits opposite over here, and that leads us up this hill. So again, I've tried to be careful with our inclines here, both of them just under 7%, so steep but not insane steep, and I've just used switchbacks to get them up the hill. Over behind, you can just see the various forestry assets. Here are medium tree plantations, and with these I've just bulbed the trees to change them. So I've just gone to the drop down menu, chosen oak, and then bobbed them out for horse chestnut trees, which we've used elsewhere in the city. That way, whenever we choose oak, these ones will pop up instead. I just like them more than the vanilla trees. I just think once we detail this up and come in with our tree palette, it'll blend in nicer than the bog standard ones. Some tree sapling greenhouses, forestry worker barracks, more storage with this large log yard. Then over here a recycling centre, as we were crying out for some kind of garbage service up here. Another sawmill and biomass plant. The forestry maintenance building behind it there. And then again with just some generic industry or forest industry buildings dotted around to just help the assets we need to put here blend in better. The way I look at it, there wouldn't just be a humongous random biomass pallet plant in the middle of the forest, so I've put them there, then made this little area a sort of industrial area with everything we need, storage and whatever else. Then I think it looks like it belongs here. And there we have it, TBC Forestry. Don't really have a name for it or this area to be honest, so if you have a suggestion, drop it in the comments below. Quick check of our industry area info panel here. I think we've done well. It's a level 4 industry with the capacity to hit level 5. Our demand for jobs has sunk, but we've not gone overboard either. The area is also well connected with the train, which reminds me, let's have a quick look at that as well. So this incline was a difficult one. I managed to stick to about 3%. I know 2% is probably more realistic, but it was a pretty tall order. But I think this is okay to be honest. It sweeps right down the hill, and then we have our cargo line which plugs in here. That way, it's linked to both our other cargo train terminals we have down here. This side I had to tunnel under, as it would have looked awful over the ground. Then our passenger line, so forgive me for this one in advance. I stress that this is only temporary, I promise. But I just wanted to hook it into our passenger line so we could get our train station in Fairview switched on and start to ferry people back and forth. So I'll show you the underground view, but advanced warning, it is not pretty. Eventually this line will go to the downtown and probably will keep it above ground and up in the air like this, as I really like the look. But for now, I've sunk it and swung it around to link into our passenger line. It's actually getting a lot of use, about 150 or so sims at any given moment, spread across the 3 trains we've got running on it. So we'll see how we go. Righto, enough about that. Let's detail it out now and see if we can bring this to life a bit more. Rightio, let's see how this turned out. Starting down this end, quite light on the detailing here. Just plenty of trees. This is a little township nestled in the hills, so there'd be lots of forest cover with houses dotted about. The first roundabout I've put in a fire watch tower. We've been okay so far, and although we don't have any fire helicopters in the city as yet, this will be helpful when we do. I have turned down the probability of forest fires as sometimes it gets a bit crazy, but I haven't turned it off completely, so we'll see how we go. Nothing major here really. I haven't separated the houses by detailing in gardens or fences. I figured that this town would have originally started off with such a tiny population and a few houses, and as the forestry industries boomed, more and more have sprung up, but they're more like wooden cabins rather than proper houses. Same with the commercial assets here, just some decals to rough the concrete up and it's good. This isn't a holiday destination as I said, so the assets I've chosen reflect that. Then right down the other side, same deal. Very similar, just plenty of tree coverage, dirt paths for walkability, a little love for the historical library, some ore industry fencing around the industrial area, and that's about it. Then into the main township, very similar with the houses here too. Some similar work around the historical library here as well. Then some really nice detailing around this church asset. It functions as a park. Then next to it I have the realistic working cemetery as well, so I just wanted to make something special out of them both. I know a lot of these small towns are often founded around a church or something similar, so I think this suits our little township here. Round to the main street, lots of dirty concrete details to give a rundown vibe here. Greenery in and about, benches and things like that. Then I've run the ore fence along the railway line to protect the Sims from the trains. I've done the same along the main road too, just on one side, then a more scenic farming fence on the other side. I mean, if you hit that in your car, you're going over the edge, but it looks nice. Then more dirt paths. Some decals there where the normal road meets the dirt road. Then heaps of decals on our forestry assets. The biomass plant, sawdust storage, and that wonderful forestry cargo train asset. It actually had a ton of assets detailed on it already, so I really didn't need to do a lot to it, to be honest. Just some old railway forestry assets on that dummy train line that's not used for anything. Some additional flatbed carriages with props on them, then the diesel locomotive asset, which is superb. The forestry main building is opposite that, and I've left it untouched other than more decals, and then created a little bus station here. I pulled the bus lines off onto this side of the road, as what was happening is we had so much traffic coming in and out of the cargo terminal now that the buses were backing the traffic up. So I just created this wee offshoot here and it works perfectly. Then up the mountain, I put some farm fencing on our switchbacks, just to try and prevent cars or trucks flying off the edge. I mean, it won't stop them, but it's the thought that counts, right? Then tons and tons of trees around our tree plantation assets. The idea here being that you can't see them anymore, it just looks like huge fields of tree plantations, and I would say mission accomplished. Some I've put fencing around, but not all, and not on all sides. In little awkward spaces, I've gone in with some prop detailing, like this one here, a couple of Sims chatting about what needs to be done, while one gets ready to get up into that loader there. Decal city, and then some puddle decals as well, making it look nice and muddy. Then up and over here, same deal, just little pockets of activity where there's weird little areas that you can't fill. Just go in with some props and I think it looks super cool. More decals and props over here around the forestry maintenance building, which is huge by the way. I don't remember it being that big, it's mammoth, but I just filled out the space with some props. Bits and pieces around the biomass plant. Then this cute little convenience store. I built on that rundown theme here with an additional vending machine, some trash, cracked concrete, some benches if you want to sit outside and eat your slushy or your 9-day-old lukewarm hot dog, and then a bit of broken wire fencing around the perimeter. Then some car parks at the back. I put another little log loading area behind here. Our large log yard. Then with the forestry workers barracks, I didn't really do too much. They're really nice assets, they don't need much to be honest, so I gave them all little driveways and some fencing around the outside, but nothing major. And that's it. I think it turned out really nice. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Well, that's it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. If you're on Discord, jump over to my Discord community and say g'day. And until next time, enjoy the Cinnos, take care, have a great day, and thanks again for watching.